How do we categorize books that have young protagonists, but the content is not appropriate for teenagers? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. You don't get to decide what is appropriate for a teenager. There are people who are professionals at this, and they are the ones who are deciding what is going to be marketed as a teen book, but they are still not the arbiters of what teenagers are actually going to read. That is up to each individual teenager's parents. And every once in a while, I will make a video that strikes up a lot of this type of conversation in which people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I read a book that was marketed as YA, but I don't think teenagers should be reading it. And sometimes the person saying this has teenagers. Sometimes this person has no children. Sometimes this person has no experience being around teenagers at all. And yeah, I stand by what I said at the beginning. You don't have any right to decide what is appropriate or not appropriate for a teenager. And while there are some developmental norms in adolescence, teenagers are not a monolith. What is appropriate for one teenager is not necessarily appropriate for another. And this changes based on a lot of things. And it can change from day to day in a teenager's life. There are a lot of books that a lot of adults would say are not appropriate for 17-year-olds. But if you talk to the parents of those 17-year-olds, they actually might be totally and completely appropriate. There are kids in this world who are having to bear a burden that many of us cannot imagine, and books, even if they are dark and heavy and intense, are a safe way for kids to help navigate their feelings about those burdens that you and I don't even want to think about. The people who work at publishing houses have worked in and around this space for a very long time. Many of these acquiring editors are former educators. Many of them are parents. Many of them have degrees in this space in which they understand what is normative, what is healthy, what is appropriate for teenagers in a way that a person on the internet who's never met a teenager can really understand. Does publishing sometimes maybe miss the mark on this? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they put some books over there that are maybe a little bit too graphic for most teenagers, but you know what? Those teenagers are probably going to be okay. Think back to when you were 15, 16, 17. Did you only do the things that your parents wanted you to do all of the time? You never used a word that they thought was inappropriate. You never saw a movie that they thought was inappropriate. And I don't even mean like super ultra graphic X-rated stuff, but you never snuck into an R-rated movie when you were 15. You never watched a movie at a friend's house or watched a TV show that you weren't allowed to be watching. Like, teenagers are going to experiment with these boundaries, and by and large, they're going to be okay. I think if we can have 5-year-olds going through active shooter drills, then we can handle a 16-year-old sometimes reading about physical intimacy on the page. And you don't need to be worried about what another person's child is reading. Just write the book that you want to write, let the marketers figure the rest out, and let parents make their decisions for their own children.